Welcome to the San Fernando Valley Business Journal's Fastest Growing Private Companies Awards. My name is Charles Crumpley, and I'm the publisher of the Business Journal. For a number of years now, our editorial team has crafted a unique list. It's one that ranks the growth in revenue among all the private companies in our region, and it gives us a way to identify the dynamic private companies among us. And I want to thank the ones who have made this virtual event possible. So our presenting sponsors are Cowe Communications and Wells Fargo. And our platinum sponsor is Valley Community Healthcare. So thank you again for making this possible. So just take a minute to think about this. If you're one of the companies invited to this event, it means that your company has succeeded in ways that most have not. You've managed to grow your business quickly, which is never an easy thing to do, and you've truly accomplished something remarkable. And we, our sponsors, along with the Business Journal, think that it's important to take a little bit of time to publicly recognize your important achievement. And after all, you are the ones really powering our local economy. Before we identify the fastest growing companies among us, I would like to take about, 15, 20 minutes, maybe 25, to discuss what it's like to manage a fast growing company. And after all, they have really one of the most difficult jobs, keeping up with the demands of a company that is increasing quickly and may even double year after year, sometimes year after year after year. It's a very difficult thing. So to do that, to have this panel discussion, I'd like to introduce our moderator. She's Mary Rosito, the founder and CEO of Cowe Communications. And Mary will introduce our panelists. So Mary, all yours, take it away.
Thank you, Charlie. And thank you to the San Fernando Valley Business Journal for hosting such an amazing and inspiring event. My company, Cowe Communications, is a business and brand development firm here in Woodland Hills. At Cowe, we believe that the key to business success is execution, and everyone here today is proving that philosophy to be very true. Every day, our team partners with organizations to design, implement, and publicize winning strategies that advance successful and thriving companies. We're passionately driven to make positive impacts on the world around us, and it is an honor to be here surrounded by all of you who are in fact making extraordinary impacts. So thank you. And let's get started. I'd like to introduce our panelists. First up is Gail Becker, the founder and CEO of Cauliflower in Encino. Cauliflower makes food products and is well known for its pizza crust made of cauliflower. Last year, Cauliflower was #1 on the San Fernando Valley Business Journal's list of fastest growing companies with a 2-year growth of more than 18,000%. By the way, Cauliflower also came in at #1 on the Los Angeles Business Journal's list last year, so the company was the fastest growing in all of Los Angeles County. Skylar Ditchfield is our next panelist. He is the founder and CEO of GeoLinks in Camarillo. GeoLinks supplies internet service and is often cited as the fastest growing telecom company in Southern California. In last year's Business Journal, it had a 2-year growth of 67%. And finally, we have Adel Villalobos. He's the founder and CEO of Leaf Organics in Valencia. Leaf Organics makes dietary supplements. Last year, his company ranked #6 on the Business Journal's list of fastest growing companies with a 257% growth over 2 years. So I'm going to start with you, Gail. Cauliflower has experienced phenomenal growth. I imagine it's probably like holding a tiger by the tail. And I'm really curious, can you tell us about some of the more unusual issues you faced as a result of this fast growth?
I used to have straight hair, and the growth certainly made it go curly. How about that for a start? It has been an extraordinary couple of years. Look, when I'm managing growth at that level, it's hard in a number of ways. One, just to find people to come on your team and, hire them for jobs that you should have had last week. And, so from a culture fit and also from sort of a fit of being able to move that quickly. So that was certainly a challenge. Other challenges obviously had to do with manufacturing. When you're in the manufacturing business and you think you're going to be making X amount, and then because of growth, you're actually going to be making X times 10, it brings a whole other, level of issues, just, trying to make sure that we can always keep up with demand. But, it's really been more of a privilege than anything, and certainly one that we've been able to navigate.
That's amazing. And in the last 6 months, what's been your greatest challenge?
Well, it sounds crazy, but trying to just get, frozen pizza from point A to point B in the middle of a pandemic has certainly had its challenges. Now, I'm, thrilled that our supply and ops team have, been able to deliver a 99% fill rate, which, to be honest with you, is fantastic in normal times, but in the middle of a pandemic is even, that much more, and certainly, greater than a lot of our sort of big company competitors.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it has been a challenge. That was certainly a challenge, particularly in the beginning of the pandemic when, everybody, all the trucks were bringing toilet paper and
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Skylar, this one is for you. You've been chief of a fast growing company for a long time now. Can you talk to us about staffing up? It must be challenging to constantly need new people who invariably bring more functions and personalities into your company. How have you managed that?
Yeah, I don't think there's a perfect and complete answer to that. We've gone from 1 employee to 103. And, I think I've seen so many different iterations of ways I tried to solve the problem quickly and it didn't work out right. So, I thought at one point I could go out and pay more and hire better people or hire people from a bigger competitor. And almost every one of those times it didn't work out. And then, I've looked to hire people with experience, and that has worked sometimes, but for the most part, it hasn't. I've found a better process of hiring people with the right attributes that we can train up internally, that if they fit from a culture perspective and they have the right attitude and the right desire, we can teach them the rest. Where, if they know everything and we bring them in and they don't fit culturally, they're just going to blow up and come out of the organization anyways. So, it's been difficult. We found a local college that I wouldn't think would have been a great source. It was a religious liberal arts college, and we've had several great hires out of there. And we keep going back and dipping in that pond for more. And then, we asked for recommendations from our staff. I've definitely hired some friends that over the years that I knew would be good fits. But I think the old adage of hire slow and fire quickly is one you've got to remember and be aware that, I feel like 3 out of 5 hires, maybe more like 2 out of 5 hires probably just don't work out in the long run.
Right.
And you just got to be okay with that and know that's part of the business model. And then I think the other difficult part of being a company that's growing so quickly is you're in a constant state of change. Being a $15 million company 3 years ago and a $30 million company 3 years later, everything's radically different. And some of the guys that thrived in their job roles don't continue to thrive in the same role because the role has gone upwards of 2x bigger. And that's a tough decision to make, but one you have to do and figure out a way. Can that person, slot into a lower position or stay where they are, even though they might think they should be growing with the company? And there's a a difficulty there that they used to be great where they were, but the role's twice as large and they can't quite fill those shoes anymore.
Right. And is that hard for you on a personal level when you're having to make those decisions about people?
Yeah, those used to be some of my hardest decisions, and I'm still getting better at it. I mean, I would have jitters for 2 weeks before you have to fire somebody or have a difficult conversation. It's just difficult, they're people and you care about them. And especially when they haven't done something like particularly negative, that it's just things aren't working out. It's hard because ideally I would have had my core group of guys 10 that we started with and they'd still be here. But it doesn't happen that way,
Right. And have you ever deliberately slowed growth?
No, not deliberately.
Yeah.
I think there's enough outside forces always working against you. I think we've maybe walked away from a few opportunities to focus on others. So maybe that's a little bit of deliberate slowing. But for the most part, we always kind of see how much we can feed ourselves and see if we can choke on it and then figure out how to unstick that situation.
Like that. Yeah.
I think those times that we did walk away from a couple things, I found myself going, oh, well, now we're caught up like a couple months later and we're ready to be, kind of at that warp speed again.
Sure. I love the choking. I'm gonna
Yeah.
not ever forget that now forever.
Yeah.
So thank you. Adele, I imagine that fast growing companies need more space constantly. And I'm guessing that you don't want to sign a 10-year lease or even like a 3-year lease, and you've really been expanding. Can you talk to us a little bit about your space needs and how you've been dealing with that?
Yes. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Um, so planning is important, and I got into the dietary supplement industry to manufacture dietary supplements, passion of mine. But I didn't realize as a manufacturer how much the real estate portion plays a role. And those are some of the mistakes or some of the issues that entrepreneurs run into, the unforeseen. I'm a manufacturing company. I'm not a real estate company. I didn't know I plan ahead for real estate needs. And because I got it right early on, I was in a business park and I was able to grow, first 8,000 square foot building, that's where we started. I was able to grow 8,000 square foot building at a time. And I didn't have problems because as I needed it, I got the space. But I thought I was really good at managing my real estate space. I was just lucky that there happened to be space at that moment. The real estate market was right, and I had available real estate. Today we're about 200,000 square feet, and from 8,000 to 200,000 over the last 10 years, I've run into every issue. And the message I believe I can, or the learnings from my mistakes is planning. We planned our business accordingly. And I think you asked Skylar, you plan on slow growth? If you're not growing, then in the business world, entrepreneurs know this. If you're not growing, you're shrinking, because as an entrepreneur, you're starting. At least with me, you're starting at zero. There's so much competition. You have to be striving for growth. So the mistakes I made early is I didn't plan for real estate. Today, we now have a policy in place. The idea that we hire experts. So we once a year we'll look at our real estate needs for the future. I meet with a real estate agent, but I also have a real estate advisor that will talk to us about what are our future needs, and then what are, nobody can tell the future, but what are the potential future needs, and then we plan for it. And then we have to look at the real estate market every 6 months. There could be a period where there's plenty of space available, and if you take that for granted, and you're not looking at the space, and the market shifts on you, and space becomes very scarce in your area, and you don't have and you're not looking at the market, you could find yourself at a time, which we did recently, where you needed more space, but we weren't looking at the market, and there wasn't space available. So like I mentioned, I've ran into every real estate problem. We've had short-sighted on a size of a building. It was too big. I'm sorry, too small. And 6 months we outgrow it. There's been instances where we released too many buildings, and we needed to get out of them, and we have to negotiate out of those. And I've been sued before. I've sued before, and but fortunately, over the years, we've realized that as a growing business, there needs to be contingency plans for real estate needs, and you need to plan. I think Winston Churchill says, "He who fails to plan plans to fail." Now, I'm lucky enough that I rarely plan, or I was a bad planner, so I never plan to fail. But there's been some mistakes in the past that we've learned from, and having advisors is very important.
Yeah, that was lovely. Thank you so much. And so I am actually going to ask this question to all three of our panelists. And so I'd like to ask, what advice would you give to the founder of a young company that's suddenly successful and starts to grow quickly? So what are the best, and what is the most best and useful thing that you can tell them? Gail, I'd love to start with you.
Sure. I think probably the best advice would be, don't be afraid to admit what you don't know. I mean, this was certainly uncharted territory for me. I think, any growth at that rate will be uncharted territory for most founders. And I think it's really important to be comfortable with what you know and hire people around you to help get you through the parts that you don't know and help you build the business. And I think that's a mistake a lot of founders make. They feel like they have to have all the answers. You actually don't. If you build a great team and fill in some of the voids, then there's no wave you can't ride.
That's really helpful. Skylar, what about you?
I'll agree with Gail's points on building a great team there. It took me, I think, 7 or 8 years in to get that team in place. So out of the gate, I would say your problems are not solved. I thought, as soon as I'm growing quickly, I've solved my problem of growing. It's just a whole nother set of problems. So I would say the biggest single thing to focus on would be cash management, because you usually have cash flow issues. We did with high growth, and that took several years to alleviate. So start looking for money. And going to Adele's point is planning. So start projecting where you're going, what the cash needs are going to be, and get ahead of that issue.
Love that. And Adele, your thoughts?
All of them are all of the above, right? Skylar and Gail. And culture, values, those are important. Everybody's touched on hiring, the right people. And I'm going to say my organization grew when we began to realize what values worked for our organization. What were the values that were impacting change, and what were the values that were attracting the right individuals? And because our focus on those values early on when we started growing, and very hard for an entrepreneur, one of my personal values was loyalty. I realized that the organization begins to breed its own values when you bring the right people. There were a lot of my values that are still within the organization, but you need to separate yourself and identify the values that the company grew into while you attracted the right people with the original founder's values. So loyalty became difficult for me because I needed to remove individuals that did not match the values of the organization. So paying attention to the values, it's not something that you can force on an organization. But if you begin to attract the right people and you're paying attention to the values that are making an impact, then you need to identify them, make them important to the organization, and then you make decisions based on those values. So I'm paying very close attention to the values that attract the right people and the values that you turn into, and then that carries into culture. Once you have the right group of individuals that help grow the organization, and you identify which culture you're going to accept. And culture is something that you can manage. It's what we allow. It's the policies, procedures by which we govern ourselves, the things that we do. And I think we have a great culture. We're still growing and understanding the importance of accountability, and understanding that culture is what we allow to happen. We can allow great things to happen, but we can also allow bad things to happen. We're maturing as an organization, and we're beginning to understand we can have a lot of fun as a company. We can develop, breed, and attract talent. But it's also very important that we eliminate the things that do not breed an environment that attracts the right people. And so values are very important. Culture is very important.
I love everything about that. Adele, thank you. Skylar, thank you. Gail, thank you. This has been absolutely inspiring and great. I appreciate your insight, and thank you for letting us all know what it's like to manage a fast-growing company. And with that, I'll hand it back over to you, Charlie.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mary. Great job. I really appreciate it. And thanks again to our panelists, Adele Villalobos, Skylar Ditchfield, and Gail Becker. Thanks again for all of your insight. It's really, actually it was really refreshing for me to hear about some of that, because a lot of us deal with the opposite problem. So it was it was great to hear about fast-growing companies. So now we're going to unveil the fastest growing private companies in our region. We're going to start with number 45. We're going to work our way all the way to the number 1 company. But before we begin, I'm going to take just a few seconds and talk about the methodology. And I promise I won't bore you too long with this, but to qualify, a company must be located in our region. And by the way, our region, in which we call it the Valley area, and it's San Fernando, Conejo, Santa Clarita, Simi, and Antelope Valleys, and Camarillo too, for you, Skylar. The company has to have a minimum of $5 million in sales last year, and it must have been in business for at least 3 years. Now, what we do is we rank them according to the percentage growth in revenue from 2017 through 2019 for that 2-year span, and it's that simple. So let's get started. I'll now announce the 2020 class of the fastest growing private companies. So, kicking off the list at number 45, Farber, Haas, Hurley. Number 44, LBW Insurance and Financial Services. Number 43, IntelliSwift Software, Inc. Number 42 is Galpin Jaguar. 41, Career Strategies, Inc. Number 40, Allen Lund Company. 39, Hutchinson and Bloodgood. 38 is North Hollywood Toyota. Number 37 is Ticket Manager. 38 is Harbor Freight Tools. 35 is Bel Air Internet. 34, The Shepherd. 33, Gothic Landscape. 32 is LA Solar Group. Number 31 is Bernard's. 30 is Gaspar Insurance Services. Number 29, AMG and Associates. Number 28 is Aztec Wall Coverings. 27, Fay Business Systems Group. 26 is Alpha Structural, Inc. 25, Caldera Medical, Inc. 24, Grobstein Teeple. Number 23, Uptime Energy. 22 is Scorpion, Inc. Number 21, Interactive Education Concepts. Number 20 is TLT Food, the Lime Truck. Number 19 is Brand Ventures or Branded Offers. Number 18, GeoLinks. Congratulations, Skylar. Number 17 is Bold Screen Media. 16, Fiona Hutton and Associates. Number 15, JKL Technologies. 14 is SADA Systems, Inc. 13, Elevate Staffing. Number 12 is LumaForge. Number 11 is the Liberty Company Insurance Brokers. And now we get to the top 10. So number 10 is IPI Construction. Number 9, Freight-Rite Global Logistics. Number 8 is Leaf Organics. Congratulations, Adele. Number 7 is JB Office. Number 6 is Revelier. And congratulations to each and every one of you. And now I'm going to stop for just a few minutes and I'd like to have our other presenting sponsor, Sean DeBierpine, who's the Hollywood Hills District Manager of Wells Fargo, announce the next 3 awards. And by the way, when Sean announces the next 3, someone from that company may say a few words if they want. So Sean, take it away.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm excited to announce the number 5 fastest growing company in the Valley area. This company is based in Glendale and has had about 248% growth. Please congratulate Disco Inc.
Congratulations, Disco. I don't know if anybody with Disco is with us. They said earlier they may not, but is anyone with Disco with us today? So that's fine. Just please go ahead, Sean.
Congratulations again. So now I'm going to announce the number 4 fastest growing private company. Once again, when I announce the name, someone from the company may say a few words. This organization is based in Sherman Oaks. The company is dedicated to providing superior financial products while keeping costs as low as possible. It had 283% growth. Please welcome Payment Cloud. Okay.
Someone from Payment Cloud, I think, is with us. Maybe they're on mute. Okay, well, maybe not. So go ahead, Sean.
All right, congratulations again. The number 3 fastest growing private company in the Valley area is based in Valencia and had 429% growth. This organization bridges the gap between the world's best technologies and the people who use them. Please congratulate Lift Innovate.
Hey, Sean, thanks. I am here. Name is Paul Bernstein. We're honored to receive the recognition for the number 3 fastest growing company. Thank you very much.
Great, congratulations, congratulations. And
Thanks,
you know, it's really great. Congratulations again to Lift Innovate, Payment Cloud, and to Disco. And thank you, Sean, for your help. And by the way, thank you for, you know, thanks to Wells Fargo, their ongoing support of our business community. It's really, it's been enduring and recognizable, and we're grateful for it. So thank you for that. So finally, it's time for me to announce our top 2 companies. And once again, if I announce your company's name, someone from the company can say a few words if they wish. It's not a requirement, but if they want, they may do so. So it's my privilege to announce that the number 2 fastest growing private company of 2020 in the Valley area with 485% revenue growth is IS Squared Inc., IS Squared. Would someone from IS Squared like to talk? Maybe you're on mute. I think someone was with us. Okay. So anyway, congratulations, IS Squared. We'll go on. Finally, we come to our number 1 company, and this Encino-based company is revolutionizing our favorite comfort foods by making them healthier for you. It had revenue growth of more than 1,600% for the 2nd year in a row. The number 1 company is Cauliflower. Congratulations, Cauliflower. And Gail, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, sure. So first off, thank you, because that's incredible. And I know I speak for the whole team when I say I take this for all of them. And I guess just to anyone out there who's thinking about starting a business in the San Fernando Valley or in LA or quite frankly anywhere, you know, I think Cauliflower is a good example, and maybe I'm a good example, that it's never too late to bet on yourself, never too late to take a chance. I think if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that, you know, life is fragile, and if you have an idea, don't wait for the right time. Now's the right time. So thank you.
Thank you, Gail. It's inspirational to see what you've done, honestly. So thank you again, Miri Rosito from Cowe Communications, Sean DeBeerpanaw from Wells Fargo for making this possible. Also, I'd like to thank our platinum sponsor, Valley Community Healthcare. And of course, thanks to all of you for joining this event today. I want to point out that you can read all about the fastest growing private companies, including the entire list, in the upcoming issue of the San Fernando Valley Business Journal. So please pick up that issue. And please, let's give one more big shout out to all of the companies that made the 2020 list of the fastest growing private companies. Congratulations to all of you. It's really a big accomplishment. And once again, you all are helping power our economy. And we're really proud of you. You know what I'm going to do is leave the link open for a little while so that if you want to talk among yourselves, you can certainly do that. I'm going to step off so that you can talk in private. And again, thank you for joining us, and hope to see you again next year. Take care. See you soon.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. Congrats again, everyone.
Good job, Gail.
Congrats, everyone.
Thank you, guys.